Hello everyone, it's so good. It's always a pleasure to sit down and share with you and read your questions and stuff. Some of you are really suffering bad, I know. So it's just, one of those things. But listen, all you guys on Facebook that sent me all these lovely responses, all you guys, I love you guys. Jermaine, you're a crazy woman. But you guys are something else. What was I going to do here? This was Alyssa, and this is pretty interesting. Alyssa, that was a pretty interesting thing. All you guys, I mean, I can't, you're just so beautiful. There's so many things you wrote here that were just so nice here. Misty, Monica, you're all just great people, guys. Thank you so much. Read every one of them. Love you all. I think we're a pretty good team, all of us. I think we've done a lot. I just got off the phone, some guys healing people right and left. I mean, this guy is just cleaning them up right and left. Matter of fact, I thought I would read this. This came into us today, and it said, don't read on YouTube, just in case we need it. Not for YouTube. Okay, for YouTube, you can use her name. Well, one says not for YouTube, the other is. So I'm going to mention any names. On Friday, a lady, she's from New Jersey. Her husband, such and such, who's 64 years old, had gout and arthritis really bad. 22 months ago, they went vegan, and the gout went away, and there was some improvement in the arthritis, but not a lot. After going off fruit for 12 days, all fruit, not veggies, all fruit for 12 days. He is pain-free for the first time in 15 years. Apparently, he got up from his desk at work and didn't know how to walk. He was so used to having to walk crippled, isn't that sad? With the arthritis, he'd forgotten what it was like to be able to move freely and normally. I know, some of you guys that have been in pain for years, it's like opening the door and you've been all winter in a cabin and now the sun's out and you got blue skies. No more clouds. I mean, that's what health is. It's vigor. It's vitality. It's looseness. It's everything you expect it to be. This lady was really emotional. She was so overcome with happiness, she said to send you a giant thing. Well, thank you too, sweetheart. Now, so with the gout, too much protein or fungus in the body, leaving uric acid, of course. So getting this uric acid out, I would continue to detox my husband, get their kidneys filtering, get the adrenals up. Good thing he's pain-free. Let's get all that cleaned up. Any deterioration of the joints or anything, let's make sure you rebuild that. Make sure the parathyroid's working, fingernails are tough. Any bone loss, knees, hips, or anything, you'll rebuild that. Get all these acids out of his body, and you've got a hubby. I tell you what, I feel sorry for people been in pain for that many years. It's kind of sad there. Let me see who this one is. Let me see, a ton of skin manifestations. I think they are all HPV related, but I'm having a hard time getting tested by MDs. I almost want to buy my own microscope and do my own. Well, why don't you? Microscopes are fun. I mean, for those that are the inquiring minds want to know, there's nothing like, I love science. I had a chemistry set when I was a baby almost. I mean, I've been playing with chemicals and chemistry for a lot of years, I've always loved that. I've kind of messed in several different things, I would like to talk to someone. I've been eating fruit for a couple of months now. I've cheated with organic, non-GMO stuff like beans and a couple of times a month. That's still pretty good, You're doing really well. I don't mind doing lemon water fast or dry fast, but I would like to talk to someone to tell them the progression of the issue, and maybe you can advise on something more specific. I'm 26 years old, really in shape physically. Though my respiratory may be weak from non-tobacco cigar smoke, my digestive is fairly regular compared to most because I rarely eat meat. Good idea. Here's a phone number here. I really need to explain what goes on to someone because I think the growths in my mouth throat could be precancerous. I am spiritual and I don't mind more light in that region, even if it's a bit esoteric. Well, I try not to be a bit esoteric. I try because, you know, if we're going to reach everybody on both an upliftment, call it spiritual, just an upliftment, doesn't have to be something quirky, freak people out, but just a little higher level of seeing everyone as at least brothers and sisters, you know, and realizing that we're on the rock together, and that killing each other doesn't get us anywhere, and that, you know, a higher level of appreciation for differences. Because that's what makes the world go round, is differences, and yet they're fighting over it, and that's the negative forces. You know, when the negative forces come in, they're the social consciousness. You know, they like socialism, that sort of thing, where they take the freedom away from the individual. That is not godly. Godly is about freedom of the individual, you know. So, you know, esoteric... Yeah, I know. Sometimes it feels that way when you're using verbiage that is discussing realms or worlds that are beyond this one. But I think by now in our society there's been enough near-death books written, enough movies written about that it's pretty much like the little boy that went to heaven. Which one? There's a bunch. There's also... what's that one with Patrick? Was it Patrick Swayze? Yeah, that one was a nice one, you know, with Demi Moore. That was a Ghost or whatever. That was pretty nice. But it just shows that most people understand there's other parts of ourselves besides just the physical body. So then how do you seek to find those answers, since most religious books don't cover that sort of thing, and some religions are scared of anything outside of this physical world, which is a shame because this is the lowest world of God and has the least amount of freedom and joy and happiness in it, particularly this rock. This is a warring rock, so I don't know. Anyway, I tell you what to do. I'll make sure I get some time, my friend, and give you a buzz. Now, this individual is Lenka. I am 27 years old, and she lives in the Czech Prague. I have been dealing with ovarian cysts and endometriosis for almost 3 years. Now, cysts and endometriosis. What system? Because if we look at the body in terms of systems, we've got a bunch of cells, and we got 2 fluids. So each fluid is a system, isn't it? The circulatory system, right? Then you've got the skin, the integumentary system. And then you have the the lymphatic system, the immune system, in other words. We seem to call the immune some system that nobody really understands. When we say, I want to build my immune system, and I've talked about this before, what are you talking about? Bone marrow, spleen? What are you talking about? Your immune cells? It's not a system per se. It's involved with 2 systems, blood and lymph. Because blood and lymph is the dominant fluids that take care of the cells. Water's just an osmotic type of thing and not even a hydrating thing, to be honest with you, but buffering if we say anything about it. You know, this is why you see edemic changes when you get acidic. You get edemic, you start holding water. And so, anyway, so we see that ovarian cysts and endometriosis means she's not filtering from her kidneys. And we need to filter from your kidneys, sweetheart. So you got to get your kidneys filtering to stop these ovarian cysts from coming and going, and get this endometrious type of, it's just sewage. And it's acidic. And to show you that is that if you're not careful, that high acid fluid acts like a welding machine and will weld your uterus right to your colon. Seen it many times. So that's what acids do. They weld things together. You know, they dehydrate, agglomerate, all these things. So you want to, I would use Hilal tea too as a douching mechanism for at least 3 or 4 weeks, once a night maybe. But you got to do this. You got to handle most of this topic internally. So you got to get your kidneys filtering, your adrenal glands up, and everything like that. I had my first operation in May 12, during which doctors removed 8 centimeter. That's a pretty big one. Ovarian cyst. I saw a surgery on one of the Discover channels, 303-pound ovarian cysts. That freaked me out. I watched the surgery and everything. They had to bring in a dolly, lay the lady over on her side as they cut this huge, I've never heard of a cyst that could get that huge, 303-pound ovarian cyst. 8 centimeter cyst is pretty big on the right side together with the took her fallopian tube. My second operation was in October 13, when they removed 8 centimeter ovarian cyst on each side and checked that my second fallopian tube should work. Doctors also told me that I had a lot of adhesions in my pelvis, uterus with intestines, and so yeah, it's just you're burning and stripping yourself. This is just acidosis, and this is just a lymph system dog. So you've got to really get those kidneys filtering and get that lymph moving. Can't cut everything out, okay? So when we say this is a systemic problem, we really mean a systemic problem. Oh, I wanted to mention this before I forget it. It's right in my face here anyway, but for some reason, as soon as they mention our name on Facebook, it disappears. So I don't know, we have definitely a very corrupt thing going on worldwide here. Between the World Bank, the trilaterals, these are the narcissistic intellectuals that feel that most people should be terminated off the planet, and, they're paper money, they need to own all the gold, that sort of crap out there, But anyway, moveyourlymph.com. Moveyourlymph.com. That's going to be a meeting place where everybody gets together and question and answer. So moveyourlymph.com. Love it, guys. Good work. You know what? When they move right, we move left. But again, all karma driven, and they everything has to work to get things to where they are. When they are, those things will be dealt with. So even though they're carrying on and thinking big, you'll see. Of course, it's all the creator-driven anyway, so you just can't judge anything. Hard not to, but just can't do that. Doctors also told me that I had a lot of adhesions in my pelvis uterus with the in January 14, that's not too far back, they found again small cyst on left side of my ovary, 2.2 centimeter. After that, I stopped eating meat. Good deal. And soya. Good. I'm glad you stopped soya, because that's soy is an estrogenic bean, and my dad in farming never had anything good to say about soybeans. None of the farmers around where I lived had anything much good to say about a soybean. I often wonder, but that's why Monsanto picked it. And reduce using dairy products. Reduce, you need to get rid of. There should be no dairy products consumed. Dairy products is by far the top of the heap at clogging up the lymph system, causing excessive amount of mucus to build up in the system from dairy proteins. Dairy products, period. And I'm even referring to the kefirs too. And yogurts. These are all bad news bears. They all cause mucus, all cause tumors to grow. And what's happening with you, dear, you're just not filtering your lymph well from your kidneys. So you're popping cysts. Next, they're all tumor type stuff. This is all lymphatic. This is why you're so acidic, you're seeing the lesions develop. So you need to get that handled real importantly there. And of course, it's backed up head to toe. After that, okay, but even though I am still not eating meat, soy, and so on, it is still there with the same size. That's because you have to detox. And you give up a good example where you just can't eat better and everything will take care of itself. That's a misnomer. That's not true. You'll feel better, and a lot of people can get better by diet alone. I've seen that. It's amazing. This man got rid of arthritis just on diet alone, or he might be on some herbs. I can't remember. But anyway, some people can do this. But that's rare nowadays because of the genetics and the kidney problems and all that. When you can do it by diet alone, great. But nowadays, you've got to enter the world of fasting. And fasting, we're throwing fruit and juices in there on fasting, but really, a tropical diet is as close to fasting as we can get. And I call this Dr. Morse's tropical diet. And that includes the fruits, the berries, and the melons. And if you have to, the fruit veggies. But really, sweetheart, you need to dig a little deeper in your detox. By just stopping foods don't make things go away. Now you got to fix some things. And the first thing you got to fix is your kidney adrenals. You've probably been going along for a lot of years not realizing you're losing that ability to filter. So that's the order of the day. Hit those kidneys with at least a capsule and a tincture kidney formula, at least one lymphatic formula, if not two. And you really need to take off and stop this. And the only way you're going to stop the growth of cysts is through filtration of kidneys and sweating. Believe that or not, open up all your doors of elimination. When you start to see swelling and cysts and tumors and boils and pimples, you're not eliminating. You've lost elimination. That's why you're backing up. That's all. That simple. It's not something mysterious. This is sewage backing up. Being acidic, of course, the body does try to protect itself with a little extra skin around there, or a little extra tissue, in other words. Now, I have to add that I use hormone, Visane for endometriosis since October 13th. Not going to do any good because this is the lymph system. By working with progesterone or estrogen or any wrong way of thinking. As a matter of fact, you have to be careful working with the steroids and stuff. Now, this is the lymphatic problem. Yes, when you're more acidic, when estrogen kicks up a little bit, women are going to see their lymphatic stuff a little more. They're going to see the face or whatever. They're going to see the skin. And it just shows them they're full. Their lymph system's so backed up that a little more acid, then they really start to see the symptoms. And you see it when you have your periods. You know, and it's just that estrogen, which is acidic, is kicking up. So acid on top of acid. So with that in mind, imagine going the other way and doing acid on top of extreme acid, chemotherapy. You know, I mean, it's just insane when you understand what's up here and how anybody has not sued and really taken this to task just from the idiocy of putting acid against acidosis. That's criminal from the get-go. After Visane, I guess I've never heard of that one. They want me to use different birth control pills and again use it without, because you see they're missing the whole point. And what they're going to do is they're going to mess you up. Sweetheart, they're going to mess your steroids up until you go cuckoo. They're going to mess your adrenals up, going to mess your ovaries up, and you're a young woman, right? 27 years old. No. This is a kidney problem and an adrenal gland problem. Focus on those, and you'll have your remedy in your female areas. I'll still douche for a month, probably once every night, or at least 2 or 3 weeks. Open up that canal a little bit, clean. Maybe reach up there, lift your hips up in a bathtub. Maybe try to get it up as far as you can. Let that tea get up in there. But at the same time, most of this has to be handled internally through the lymph route, lymph nodes, and the kidneys. Okay. Birth control pills, and again, use it without any break for menstruation. So it is almost 1 year since I've had menstruation. See, they're messing. You don't want to mess with your steroids whatsoever. It has never been a smart thing. Only medical doctors that, I don't know, you know, it's just never been a smart thing to supply hormones. Even with hormone replacement philosophies, you're still giving hormones or steroids. And your patients are going to lose and are losing their glands. And after a while, they leave you. So you never hear anything. Medical doctors don't get much of a kickback unless their clients go in and ream them up. They come in here, and then I have to hear their stories, you know, and that's the problem. So we want to make healthy. So medical doctors get into glandulars. That's your best bet for your patient and for yourself, is get into these glandulars. Don't see things as diseases. See things between chemistry and physics, and see things as a fluid or a system problem, and understand the diet. What that man's diet. You've got to understand, I don't care who says meat is healthy, they're wrong. I don't care who says dairy products are healthy, they're wrong. So medical doctors have to get with that. There's been enough books, health books. It's time that this renaissance of understanding of raw comes about, but you have to. So you have to be careful about your menstruation, sweetheart. Generally, your menses stops at your pituitary. So you have to look at that. If you're not having any luck, call in and talk to one of the counselors here or whatever, and let them get you going and get your female stuff going again. Get yourself balanced out here before they start cutting too much of you out. And again, you have to be careful with so much endometriosis as that you'll start affecting the colon and then, problems. So you just got, this is a kidney lymphatic problem. This isn't a blood problem. This is a lymphatic problem. All this made me think harder about my situation. I have met some people who told me about fresh vegetables and fruit juices. I read your book about the power of detoxification. Oh, really? And I'm really determined to try some longer period just on juices. But as you wrote in your book that if we do not have experiences with detoxification, we should find someone. Well, you got a whole bunch of us now. Then how many of us out here have been doing this? Some of us, for me, for 43 years, but we've got YouTubers that have been doing this for a long time. We've got a lot going on here, so you should have plenty of people with understanding of detox. Yeah, there's some radicals out there, but detox is easy. Nature does it all the time. It's a fun thing. It makes you feel better. It builds your self-discipline. Look at it as a fun thing. Don't look at it as I got to do. No, look at it as a fun, I feel good thing, because it's just what it is. Should find someone to guide me. Okay, so Mr. Morse, would you be able to help me? I'd be happy to help you, sweetheart. But the internet is full of information, and I have to admit that I kind of got lost in them. Also, do you recommend to start the detox with juices right away, or should I eat fresh fruit and vegetables for a few days, or use salt water at first for a few days and then start with juices? Best regards, Lenka. I never recommend salt water. Ever do I recommend consumption of salt water. And I recommend no one do that. Whoever's putting that out there is crazy. I had a lady almost end up in the ER doing that. You got to be real careful. You can't play with your sodium-potassium balances. The first rule of thumb is to stop all salt intake. Has been the rule always in natural health. So I don't know where people come from with that sort of thing. Well, when you start off on cleaning your body out, it depends upon the person. And I did just talk to Babe earlier today. 3 years. 3 years on juices. That's over 1,000 days, I believe, Babe. Over 1,000 days on juices. Sometime I'll show you her eyes and stuff. But what was evident to me with Babe was the difference between vegetable juices and fruit juices. And there's just a huge difference. If you want to detoxify, you can't use vegetable juices. For some of you, you'll feel better, a little better for a short period of time. You want to do well, you get yourself on the fruits and the berries and the melons, and you always seek to find the most ripest fruits you can. We have a serious problem in the States. Hopefully in some other countries you have some better access. We have horrible access to fruits in America. Sad stuff. Here we are, oh, get me out of here. Crazy stuff. But I would start doing fruit all day long, fruits, berries, and melons all day long, and then I would have a large salad at night. And I do that for a couple of weeks, see how I feel. If you really want to dig deeper, because you're going to have to with these cysts, I'd get rid of the vegetables and stay with the fruits. If you wanted to replace the salad with green drink, you could do that for another week and do green drinks at night, and then turn to a total fruit, berry, and melon diet. And then you're really going to get some things done. Highly advise you get on the kidney herbs and lymphatic herbs at the very least, and clean up your GI tract at the very least. Get those adrenals up, get your kidneys filtering, get that lymph moving, and all this will come out and you'll quit popping these cysts, because you just can't keep doing that. Can't keep going in with surgeries, because now you're going to get more adhesions and scar tissue from surgeries, because surgeries is an acidic experience as well. So, nothing works better than doing it right. And that's how you do it right. And then if you want to get up into a little more fasting, go to more mono. Just talked to a gentleman this morning, Chad, incredible YouTuber. Did a lot of mono work, feels super, super, super good. And that's how I felt super good on a mono diet too. Most animals eat mono. They eat one food at a time. And if you think about it, simplicity in digestion, simplicity in the yield of nutrition, simplicity in all walks of life when you do mono eating. And you could change it up each time you did that. Remember, I did a mono orange diet for 6 months. Navel orange exclusively, by the way. And I can't even tell you how good you feel. There's no words to describe it. It's almost too good. You're sitting there wondering if you're doing something wrong because you're not supposed to feel this good on this planet, you know. Seems like there's that thing here. So you feel good and then the negative forces come after you. But it's enough to say, though, dear, get in there and get these cysts out and get your kidneys filtering and take care of this problem, because you don't want to live long with this problem, because you end up having a whole hysterectomy and that does not fix the problem. You haven't fixed your kidney filtration. So you'll just stop popping tumors. You got the breasts coming. You got all these other things coming that could cause you some serious problems. You're only 27 years old. So, you know, take care of this now, dear, and you're done. You'll have a good life and everybody's happy and you can have kids and everything's good. Oh, yeah, it's an Ebola question. Greetings to all you. Thanks. Boy, I love you guys. This is Karyn. I am wondering if Dr. Morse has addressed or will address the Ebola virus that is currently raging in Africa and on our doorsteps. You know what? Yeah, I did. We talked about that on a few videos back, you know, about there are some natural virals, but there's also man-made virals. If you want to study the Ebola virus, get the Dr. Horowitz book, Emerging Virus, and you'll see where that one came from. So you have to understand, you know, getting a picture of what's going on around the world behind the scenes, kind of like Disney World, you know. It's really nice to see, you know, be on the streets of Disney World and everything, but underneath is where all the drama is. That's where all the offices are. They've got a whole world underneath Disney World, a whole world underground. And so it's pretty cool, you know. And that's what there's things going on in the world that especially those countries that deal with World Banks and where they decided to borrow World Bank money or where the World Bank used their muscle to take over. And so those countries are coming up into trouble. And they've so many things they have to do to tax and to hide the loss of your freedom, and in other countries as well. There's a major concerted effort. Remember this. Remember the World Health Organization would like to see the world population reduced by 90%. The New World Order wants to see only 500 million people on this earth. And it's etched in Stonehenge. The Stonehenge that the World Bank built in, what was it, Georgia here or whatever? I mean, to tell you. So you have to put everything in context. When you see Ebola and you see all these people dying, there are people out there that want this. That's hard to take. That's hard to take. There's people wanting to see women and children slaughtered. Get rid of the population. There is a bunch of these high narcissistic individuals who think they're better than anybody else in their family strains. Some of them claim to be the bloodline of, I won't mention any names. So there's a lot going on at stake here. There's a lot about the Queen. There's still a lot about Rome. There's still a lot about, you know, there's just a lot out there. So I don't know. You know, after a while, these governments have done all kinds of things to take people out of jurisdictions, to put them in other jurisdictions, to put them out of taxable, non-taxable categories, to put them into taxable categories, all kinds of things they've done. Isn't that sad that we have to run a world where we can have it the other way, that everybody can be healthy and happy? But it's not meant to be. Remember, this is creation. This is how you, I suppose, learn how to deal with your awareness. I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting who planted the Ebola in Africa. It's the same thing. If you read Horowitz's books, you'll find the pattern. You'll find the Air Force Base. You'll find all the scientists involved, and you'll find where they distributed the HIV virus. I don't know about the Ebola. I can't remember. But I want you to all to remember one thing. Virals are easy to detoxify out of the body, and only those people that are falling have bad lymphatic systems. If you're a hostess of the mostest, you're going to be in trouble. You know, it's the same thing with bacterium. It's the same thing with fungus. It's the same thing with virals, amoebas. You know, your terrain is everything to what happens to these little babies. And remember, a viral is a protein, not a single-celled organism, yet it has a consciousness. So, you know, there's nothing without a consciousness. So it's just something to realize that if you ever have a problem like this, what would you do? First, you've got the botanicals. Second, you've got detoxification. Both of those will cure anybody of anything, no matter what. But just remember about your inner terrain, and all you guys that are cleaning your bodies out, you're going to be the ones that survive the planet. You're the new world people. These people that think they're the new world people, they're going to die right off because they don't have any secrets of health. They don't know anything about health. And if they did, and they work their health, they would become more spiritual and more loving. And therefore more seeing everyone as one, as opposed to differences being antagonistic. So, yeah, all I can say is protect thyself. Keep your bodies clean. Detox. It's the only way you're going to get rid of virals. The only single way to get rid of viruses, in my opinion, is detox. I don't know how they took care of the doc and his helper. It'd be interesting to see their protocols of what the hospital used to clear up his Ebola effort. I'd like to see that, because it couldn't have been antibiotics. So it'd be interesting, it'd be interesting to see what they used to help this doc and his helper there that had the Ebola that came to the States. In case you guys aren't keeping up with who, I should read on, shouldn't I always? Says it's grossly underestimated, expected to rise to more than 20,000 in the near future. And they've done this with the West Nile virus. They came here and blew this thing out of proportion like nobody's business. Suddenly it was the pandemic of the century. Everybody's going to die from it. Listen, I want to tell you, when it comes to the World Health Organization, be very careful how you tread, because these guys aren't everything that you think they are. And this is some serious stuff out there. Serious stuff. 5 researchers have now died from it. I know it. Sad stuff. So herbs, you've got herbs and you've got detoxification. The only way to get rid of virals, and that's all of the virals, including HIV, herpes, Hep C, all of them. I can live outside a host for many days, and it is transmittable through causal contact. I'm sure. Virals. Listen, I've attended a lot of hospital orientations on HIV too, and the scary thing about all virals is that airborne. Oh, not airborne. Bull. Listen, anything is airborne. There's a lot of fear-based stuff there. So, making it suspicious to being man-made in Africa, you can bet it's man-made, my dear one. I can tell you, I've studied too much about this. Sad stuff, is not? I'm just telling you, this is just sad stuff. I don't know what to say about it. I say that most of us represent the God force. The force of love, beauty, honesty, integrity, and I don't know what to say about it. All we can do is help people get well. And in that process of getting well, we're coming in their back door of their psychic. We're taking their emotions and molding them into something happier. We're taking the mind and the thoughts, and we're quieting down that chatterbox. And so soul is starting to see through. And as the awareness sees through, you start to see through the fallacies and the shortcomings of creation. But again, consider it a big chess game, and other people up above this world moving the players. It's not all coming from here, guys. This is just the physical side of this. This world is just physical, not mental and not emotional. Your mind doesn't live at this level. Not at all. Neither does your emotions. Hope you know that. Your physical body is the only thing that can be at this level. Your physical brain, your physical adrenal glands, but your astral, your emotional body has its own world, and it's much finer than this one. The mind lives in a world far even beyond that one, much finer still. And if you all were transported to the mental worlds, where all these worlds exist at the mental level, you wouldn't believe it. It's unbelievable. It's staggering. And I've only seen a little bit myself, so staggering. And I just have to say that, when we have to understand these are all different levels. So there's other levels pushing the buttons. Oh no, this war is a big one. And it's all through each and every one of you too, on all these levels. You're very much a part of each one of these levels, each and every one of you. So there's a lot going on in the universes of God. I'm 43 days off of benzodiazepines. I'm looking for help to recover as rapidly as possible. Can you help? This is from Bruce. Well, you know what? You can take it easy at first. I do my green drinks first, that's for sure. At the same time, I'm popping up my adrenal glands. I'm getting my kidneys to filter. I'm moving my lymph system. Any residues in the body, I'm going to move my lymph system. Could go to the spleen and clean the spleen up for a couple bottles of spleen. Wouldn't hurt that either. You know, and kind of clean up these eliminative organs. So I clean up my liver, I clean up my spleen, but you got to get the pathway open. You got to get your lymph moving and get your adrenals up. So as these residues come out and everything is hunky-dory. That's why I'd say the green drinks maybe to help buffer a little bit. Then probably apple's a good neutralizer. So you got apples, your greens, your grapes, and then head off with detox. Use your kidney formulas, use your lymphatic formulas, stuff like that. And you could use brain and nerve #2 just for a couple of months, just to help the nervous system up a little bit from that. Probably be a good idea, Bruce. Thanks for the question, though, man. Wow, I got so many questions. Oh, let me see. I am, an ardent fan. Thank you, my friend. Who is this? I don't see a name. Babita. Burma. Oh, wow. I'm an ardent fan, believer, and follower of your theory for years. My 75-year-old mother. Wow, look at that. Now, there's some good genes. At least to 75. But, a person should live to 95 easy on this planet. Easy 95. That's old Dr. Jensen, poor guy, died at 93. And Doc was not happy. Wasn't happy. He didn't die happy, in my opinion. We had a lot of talks, and he felt it should be 12 by 12 at least, 144 at least. But, he interviewed a Russian. It was 167. Another Russian or someone over there that was 140-something. Charlie up here, Charlie Smith at 120. I knew him. I think it's the oranges, not the sardine and crackers, actually. All right, 75-year-old mother has been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. She has had 3 chemo... Oh, man. A 75-year-old woman, they're going to give her chemo sessions. What the hell's wrong with that guy? And cannot tolerate anymore. No kidding. 75-year-old woman, you're gonna put him through chemotherapy? Oh, that guy needs a little cold-cocking. At her age and stage. Yeah, no kidding. Stage 4, 75-year-old, they're going to do her chemo? This guy, what's he... Yeah, this guy eats snails for breakfast, and probably can't poop them out. I want her to have trouble-free rest of her life without ill effects of cancer or chemo or even advanced side effects of detoxification in the absence of any guide in India. But we can work from here, man. If she lives in India, that's okay. But we can work with you on Skype, that's right there, or by the phone, and that's almost right there nowadays, right? But the thing is, you put your mama right now on grapes, and if you want to move up there, get her moved up into a grape fast, and you get on grapes. The darker the better, the seeded ones if you can, and start letting her live on grapes and grape juices. We've done a lot of stage 4 lung cancers here. Doesn't mean she's going to pass either. So you can save her if you get this going. Don't know what her lymph system looks like or what all she has to deal with. That's a big deciding factor. What's the first thing you want to think about here? 75-year-old lady? Kidney failure. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to go after those kidneys. You're going to go after her GI tract, the eliminative organs. You're going to, because 75 years old, she's full of acidosis big time. Her kidneys are weak, her bowels. So you're going to go after these. You use the herbs and you use the fruit to go after things. And so I would do 2 kidney formulas. I'd do 2 lymphatic formulas. You want to go after this lung cancer. I definitely go after lungs #2. I would do 3 lung tea. But again, do not do a lot of liquids and don't have her drink a lot of water. You do not want her to start filling up in her lungs because she'll have to go to the hospital and get aspirated or have a tube put in. If we can avoid that, let's avoid that. So let's keep the liquids low, but at the same time you got to have fruit. And there are a lot of liquids in fruit, so you have to let that be your hydrator and thirst quencher. If you're thirsty, drink my thirst. But that's it. We don't want her to fill up with too much water. Get the kidneys filtering, get those doorways open now. And also use that lungs 3. If you need a protocol, call up JID-B. It's $150 for 14-week, or just go on the 14-week protocol that we have here. But I suggest you add lungs too from the get-go, 3-lung tea. And the 3-lung tea, I would just sip that. If I was going to do a tea with that, I would just sip the tea. Again, too much water. With that said, fruit. And I'd put her on a grape fast. Put her on a grape fast. Now, she's going to hawk up. She's going to cough up some nasty-looking stuff. Might even feel like she got a little bit of pneumonia. Good. Let her cough this stuff up and get this stuff out of here. It's just mucus and tumors and stuff like that. You'll see all kinds of necrotic stuff and brown and black stuff, all kinds of stuff. But again, you want those kidneys filtering. You want to open this door on her. And you know what? You're 75 years old. She can handle cold and flu-like symptoms. She can handle coughing up and getting rid of mucus, because you can't stop this, my friend. You can't half-ass detox. You just, it'll mess with things. You want to just keep on going. 75 years old, she's still a young woman. She's got 20 more years easy. So, get her going. You know, don't worry about big side effects. We'll be right here for her. And if she has anything she has to go to the emergency room for, which is rare, but you never know, but rare. It's better than what she's been through, and you could have your mama for a lot longer, see? She is vegetarian, non-smoker, teetotaler, oh, she'll like the tea then, and has done yoga for the past 35 years. Well, she's a spiritual woman, Indian, of course. You know, these guys tend to be more spiritual. Love Indians. But you get her now moving on all grapes, or all fruit, berries, and melons, and kick her up at another notch. Get her on the herbs, start detoxifying her. Let's save your mama. You can very well do that, let me tell you. Stage 4 is not a death sentence by any stretch of the imagination, and neither is lung cancer. Okay? What's good for it? My name is Billy. I'm 65. I'm active my whole life. Even been going to gym for the last 10 years. Look at that. 65-year-old man still going to the gym. I had recently lost 25 pounds down to 195. I used to be OBP on blood pressure meds and cholesterol meds. But about 8 months ago, started taking apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, and garlic capsules that help my blood pressure, but off and on for the last 6 months. I've had AFib, atrial fibrillation, sometimes with rapid heartbeats, up to 200 sometimes. Also, that magnesium and CoQ10. Thank you for your help. Also, wants good for sleep. Billy. Well, Billy, if you want to sleep better, you want to get in and clean your body up a little bit, get your sinuses cleaned out. But while you're doing that, you could go on a little glandular. It's raw pineal gland. The pineal gland produces melatonin, which will rest the nervous system, rest the central nervous, and let you sleep. So you could use, not the melatonin, but use the pineal formula. And I recommend 1 or 2 tabs, 1 or 2 hours BS before sleep. And that way, that'll help you sleep a little bit. Now, let's go back. You had elevated blood pressure, and you had elevated cholesterol. So what that's telling you, Billy, is that your kidneys were not filtering. You created acidosis in the body, and particularly your cholesterol is up. So the worrisome is, of course, because you can't sleep, that you have a lot of cholesterol problems up in the head area. Only a picture of your eyes, I think, would really show that for us, Billy. But I would definitely get upper circulation, brain and nerve number 2. That'll keep you from stroking. It'll open up everything, because if you've had elevated cholesterol and blood pressure, you know you've got cholesterol problems. If you want to keep the coronaries open, I do lower circulation. At the same time, Billy, I'm going to do two lymphatics, 2 kidneys. I'm going to do at least the 14-week protocol. I already laid that out for everybody. That's why I made it. I totally redid it for everybody. Or I'll do one for you. But I would go doing that. I wouldn't rely on apple cider vinegar, cayenne and garlic capsules to do that. I would go ahead and really get in there and really do some good work on yourself, Billy. Open that up. Get your adrenals up. Check your parathyroid, because parathyroid will make your fingernails brittle, could make some varicose or spider veins on you, make you bruise easy, Billy. All those sort of little depression maybe, those sort of things. Mitral valve, heart or anything like that, but you want to make sure that's up. Two things in atrial fibrillation. Well, one big thing, clean the heart. Clean the lymphatic system in the heart. No question about that. All right. With that said, again, because that swells the heart, shuts down the lymphs in the, shuts down the nervous system in the heart, occludes the blood system, blah, 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 blah. So it's always lymph. So getting your lymph in the kidneys and all that, that's vital. Then get the adrenals up, that's neurotransmitters, and your parathyroid, that's calcium utilization. That should handle your atrial fibrillation, Billy. And I appreciate the question, my dear man. Now, let's see who this is for. Kosta. Dr. Morse, I'm a Greek 40-year-old living in Australia. Wow. A Greek living in Australia. Well, I have to admit, I've never been to Greece. Got a lot of good friends in Greece. So I don't know much about Greece, to be honest with you. Living in Australia, and I have tried, oh, look at this, tried Professor Ehrets' diet, lifestyle in 2009, where I was exercising weight training. I lost a lot of weight, got a lot of criticism. You know, that's funny. It is sad. But, you know, a lot of people criticize others, and they don't have a friggin' clue. Isn't that amazing? It's hard not to judge others. It's just hard not to judge others. I catch myself every once in a while. Nope. You know, you always have to watch. You always have to be a watcher of your mind and your emotions, that they don't get out of sync, because they've been manipulated, controlled by man. It depends how many times you've reincarnated. But these sort of things, you want to always watch your mind and your emotions and keep them in check. And that's why working in the present moment, learning how to not think, sounds crazy. But, you know, there's thinking and then there's overthinking. And man is literally dependent upon his mind for everything and not his consciousness. And consciousness is where all the answers are. The mind is totally what you train it to be, what you educate it to be. It's totally a conditioned instrument in every way of the shape or form. It has nothing to do with the allness and the freedom and awareness and stuff like that. Only you do. Right? I gave up all meat products for 2 years, but my Chinese doc said I had to eat a fistful every 2 weeks because for 37 years of my life I was a meat eater, and that my parents are meat eaters, and that it was detrimental to my cells. What a dumb Chinese doctor. Give me a friggin' break. No offense. But I mean, Jesus, well, I've been doing something bad, and my parents doing something bad, and so we need to keep doing something bad. Oh, please. Oh, God. Yeah, do it for the sake of the cells. Even though chemistry and physics dictate it's going to damage your cells, we'll just do it because my parents did it and the parents before mine did it. Come on, man. I can take anybody. We talked about this. We can take anybody anywhere in the world, put them on a tropical diet, and return them back to a state of wellness. I don't care how many generations they've been on meat. Wake up. If I didn't eat a portion of red meat every so often, I follow my religion's fasting time where I eat a vegan diet Wednesday and Friday and then 110 other days of the year. You know what? Don't buy into the meat thing, bro. Get rid of it. Dead animals. There's nothing healthy about it. I don't care who says it is. There's nothing healthy about it. Get away from that. Go back raw and then go back into your fruit, berries, and melons and detox. Get in deeper. You know, eating raw foods is a lifestyle. And if you added a little steam once in a while, like the natural hygienic people, 1 day a week, okay, so what? But if you want to detoxify, you got to kick it up another notch. Absolutely. Truly believe we are frugivores, and you're right, and you can be a frugivore. It takes a little work to go back and forth, but even if you got almost there, okay. But this concept that one needs to eat meat is insanity. Insanity. I've watched your YouTube clips and am currently seeing an integrative, holistic nutritional doctor, feeling awesome after doing his program, but everything you say on YouTube makes a lot of sense. Please tell me what I can do for optimum health and to regrow my hair, because I'm a balding. Well, you got it down under, Kosta. All right. But definitely get on upper circulation to get that blood flowing up into those hair follicles. The other thing is you want to remove dehydration and acidosis, and that's lymph. Remember the new lymphatic and spinal, how that all is the lymph system. Interesting how in the 21st century we just discovered a whole new system we didn't know about before. So when you stop and think, when we come up with the things in the kidney filtration, all this thing, don't freak out. Realize in modern science, we don't know a whole bunch of things. And I mean a whole bunch of things. I think if you put everything we know, we could probably fill a little jar compared to the oldest of things. Come on. Kindle. I know a Kindle. Hello, Dr. Morse. My question is about kidney filtration and water intake. Why is it when I go long periods of time without water, my urine looks darker and seems to filter better? That's a good question. We notice that when people drink way too much water, it cuts down on filtration. So I can't tell you why that is, whether things just hold in there because water tends to be more acidic. But if you're doing alkaline water, I don't know, you should be able to get some filtration out of that. Looking darker, of course, that's when you see your proteins and gnarly stuff in there. So really, even I was watching some of you guys doing some dry fasting, and one of you guys were telling me how much you got out during a dry fast. It was a lot of stuff. So I don't know, I think that doing the whole thing is worth playing up and down and clearing it out. But I've noticed if you drink too much water, things just seem to slow down with filtration. Can't tell you other than just too much water, holding water too much, that sort of thing. It doesn't seem to have very much of anything in it. I was wondering if drinking too much liquid impairs kidney filtration. I was wondering that too. I was, because if you look at other animals, they don't do a lot of drinking. I mean, there was farmers and we had horses, and they do an awful lot of eating before they do a lot of drinking. But you realize grass and stuff like that, of course, has water in it, but not like fruits and berries and melons. Even the primates, they go down to the water once a day, isn't it? Or something like that. I also noticed that a lot of kidney herbs are diuretics. And why is that? You know why? The reason for that is simple, that when the kidneys fail, the body starts becoming edemic. It begins acidic first, and then it becomes edemic. It starts holding water. Well, everybody's trying to run to Lasix or some type of diuretic to get off the water. So it makes sense that during this thing, God put a little diureticness in these kidney formulas to help move any stored water out, But they could have more of an astringent action as well, a little more lymphatic action there a little bit. I've been so friggin' busy, I haven't had time to really get up and out and really look and do a little more research on myself. I've just, trying to nail this down and get this down the way we find it works perfectly, with augmentation where we need it. And they just, improve on our foundation. But I want us to build a strong foundation. I built custom homes for years. And I tell you, the better the foundation, the more square, everybody's thanking you all the way up to the cabinet installers. So the first man out, the concrete layers, get it straight, baby. Get them square, get them level. And then everybody else has fun. Everybody else follows suit. You'll have one nice solid house and you'll feel it. It'll feel well built, I've been playing around with the idea of dry fasting and its possible benefits. I don't know. I never dry fasted, I'll have to say, that I know of. Maybe a day or two, but never any long-term dry fasting. So I don't know. I know Dimitri, what'd you do, Dimitri? You did a week or something. You got a ton load of crap out of the kidneys. So I don't know. I know this much, that nature puts you down if you don't want to fast and clean your body out, you'll get to the point where nature will force you to do it. So, I don't like it when nature forces me to do anything because generally it's not a lot of fun. So, I'm on board. You know what I'm saying? Fasting has possible benefits, and the idea of freeing up the kidney's job of removing water all day, and that's another thing too. There's so much to know about all this. You guys are getting some good questions I have, of course, as well. But you know what? This is all good stuff. I love this, and you know what? We're putting together a good, viable science, and really getting it down there, because this is needed in the world. We need to lock down this good, viable science here of this whole thing, and that's what we're working on. Marcy and I are doing a lot of research into the lymph drainage from the kidneys up to, and the carrying of fatty acids through the body, all kinds of things we're trying to get into to show you what was back in the old days considered and what suddenly has disappeared from the pro charts today. A lot of things disappearing that maybe shouldn't have. Who knows? There's a lot of deception, a lot of evilness and deception at this level. But we're here to bring the light and the love and the opposite side. So move over negative forces, because we're here and we're coming. Move over and change your attitude. We're here. Do you have any opinion on how much liquid one should consume? Well, this is the thing. See, depends how acidic you are. Because if you're really acidic, you drink liquids. If you feel bloaty after you drink a glass of water, I don't know. That's not too good. It means you're retaining water. And of course, the weaker the kidneys, the more water retention you're going to have. Input should measure output. And a lot of people have higher input than they have output. Where's all that going? Edemic, weight. Absolutely. Excuse me. And nothing comes about it. I like drinking water when I'm thirsty and nothing but then I do eat a lot of raw foods. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Kendall, I'm thinking along your lines too. See what you can do with that. I noticed that a lot of kidney herbs are the diuretics. So I try to have the liquids more diuretics and my capsules more action-packed, more tonics and more based on kidney filtration, things like that. But, we still have to say, in herbology, really, we're still in the infantile stages of learning about botanicals and their multiple functions. And because we've been looking at them in terms of treating diseases. And we can't do that. I was going to bring that. I didn't bring that. I was going to read something to you that I thought was pretty cool. And this was written by a psychiatrist or psychologist. They didn't know which one. And he wrote a nice little piece. He's from the UK, I think, and wrote a nice little piece on the fact that there is no such thing as diseases. And I tell you, I have to say, I love this guy because he mimics my thinking right along the line. And if you really look at this through chemistry and physics, and you know how the body works, pretty soon you're starting to go, look at those guys over there. They're playing in the wrong sandbox. And they're not having a good time, and they're pulling all these other people to play in the sandbox with them, except some of them ain't coming back over to this sandbox because they're not making it. They're dying. So, they're playing in the wrong sandbox. And our sandbox is getting bigger and bigger. Plenty of room for them to come on over. They're going to have to sooner or later. I hope it doesn't get to the point of where all the lawsuits start flying, because anybody figured out the crime of chemotherapy yet? That's major. Major. But World Health Organization does say we're overpopulated. Do we want to believe them? Someone got on my case a couple of years ago for saying that. Hello, Dr. Morse. My name is... Now, I cannot pronounce your name. Guillalaume. Country boy. But I love you. Oh, G. Yumi. G. Yumi. Hey, G. Yumi. I'm pretty close, probably. Thanks. I'm glad you put that on there. I want to thank you for that out-of-body traveling you had done a couple of weeks ago. Your hug and the lady's hug felt so profoundly supportive and loving. I did not know you then, but 3 days after that, it's always the 3 days. Interesting, you should notice that. Interesting, you should notice that. I used to play with people and wait till them to come to tell me when I appeared with them. And it's always the 3 days. It was interesting. I had no friend. We were both out-of-body travelers, but he didn't know I took him someplace. And I took him in a place that I found in the inner worlds. He didn't even know I talked to him. He was an older guy in the 90s, you know, good old dude. And psychometry, he could pick up anything of yours and just start seeing visions of your whole worlds and everything. Akashic record breeder, probably. But took him 3 days to come back to me and say, "You son of a gun." Anyway, pretty interesting. You said 3 days. I didn't know you then, but 3 days after that other dimension hug, I found a video of you. How surprised was I when I heard you talk about out-of-body traveling. You know what? Getting your physical body healthy is a trip and fun. It feels good. And if you can get good food that tastes good, but when you start realizing your infiniteness, your ability to have freedom beyond your wildest dreams, your ability to move with the thought, just the ability to feel such expanded air and to be around beings that are highly expanded and exude love instead of hatred and everything. That's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. It's like that's my driving force, not health. Health is a driving force. I love it. And this is it's your sukkah. But that's nothing compared to who you are and the worlds that you can actually travel in, even in creation, which is which is nothing to who you are and an enjoyment of consciousness and being that which is. It's just there's so much to do in creation that it's just, oh my God, guys. Interesting person here. Anyway, thanks for existing, dear friend. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Must have had some fun. I need help, all right? You're 28 years old, naturopathic student. Yeah. Just remember, some of the things that they're going to teach you are going to be more medical thinking. So just know when you're learning that you're trying to brainwash you, and don't allow that to come in because you know the truth already, my friend. From Quebec, Canada. I went raw about 5 weeks ago, lost a lot of weight, and have dark under eyes. Well, immediately have kidney and adrenals. But 28 years old, you're going to have kidney and adrenals. If you don't, it can't hurt to work on them anyway. But you basically are. It'd be rare to see someone, more of an islander, but it'd be someone rare not to have kidney weakness and adrenal weakness in today's world. Holy moly. I'm tired all the time. See, there's your adrenals are down. And maybe even other things. It can be full of candida and stuff like that. I'm tired all the time, even though I am consuming a lot of very good organic fruits and veggies. Well, that's what my point is. You might have to dig a little bit in there and get a little detoxification going on. Detoxification leads to the resurrection of that which is hypo, or that which is bringing you down. And so detoxification cleans out the obstructions, whether it's mucus, proteins, acid, proteins, acid, same thing, all of that. But it removes the obstructions to the flow of energy, whether it's blood, nerve, or lymph, or consciousness. So by opening up all these flows of thought, of emotions, of blood, lymph, and nerve flow, you're now becoming a major energy channel. And just everything exudes from you. So that's what you're doing, is removing that which is obstructive to your flow of energy, making you chronically fatigued, whether it's fungus, whether it's adrenal weakness, or combination, because one always comes with the other. Fungus, adrenals, hand in hand, always. Maybe your thyroid's a little down. Now, though I am on adrenal glandulars, and he's also on some herbs here, mostly Indian herbs, some dandelion. I work in a health store. Distribution, so I have all supplements at cost. Even see if you can get your place to carry our herbs, and then you can get them there at cost. Even juice a big bunch of dark, local, organic parsley with 4 apples every morning. Wow, you're kicking butt. And my urine doesn't show any sediment. Well, sounds like your adrenals are down. So build your adrenals up. That's your sodium-potassium channel. That's a more chemical balance. That might help. Also, that gives you your neurotransmitters. Relax more because that's your dopamines. And because in increasing your dopamines and relaxing more, your dopamines will be used more for elimination. Use some more astringent. Get away from your vegetables for a while. Get more astringent. Maybe go on a 10-day lemon juice fast. See if that astringent will help with that. And by the way, guys, on the GI broom, they're so full of astringents, they're going to help the kidneys too. There's nothing you can't consume that's going to touch everywhere in your body anyway. So the chemistry from all these herbs are traveling all through you anyway. And that's the beauty, because most herbs have multiple functions. They have multiple actions and indications. That's what's the beauty of them. That's why it's hard to nail herbs down. It's just for this. Well, wait a minute, it does this too. Pretty cool stuff. I like a creator that thinks on his feet, don't you? If there was such a thing. I'm also urinating quite frequently, sometimes 2 or 3 times an hour. It shows kidney weakness. That's all I can say. Kidney and bladder weakness, man. And the urine is often clear. Yep. You got to open this doorway up. So you got to do some healing power, some strengthening to the kidneys, the adrenals. Clean up the GI tract. And I think by then you'll start to see your filtration, because you're doing everything about right. But I get more stringent in my dietary habits. Start pulling on the kidney. When you do lemons, how it stringes the mucosa in your mouth. The same thing in your kidney mucosa. So astringing that, and your kidneys can be full of mucus. So by astringing and opening that up, you start seeing mucus and sediment in your urine. Opens it right up. Or at least, you work on it. Though it sometimes is pretty yellow. Guess my adrenals aren't really, sounds like it. Must be from all those panic attacks. Well, actually, the reverse. The weak adrenals causes the panic attacks. See, that's the problem. It's the reverse. And that's what I'm saying when I say medical doctors tend to work at the ass end of the donkey. They think that panic attacks hurts the adrenals when the adrenal weakness causes the panic attack. I had between 9 and 12 years old. You've had panic attacks since then? Let me give you a little background about myself. I've never smoked, drank because my body would refuse the substance and I'd get sick very quickly. But being very lazy in the kitchen, I ate a lot of frozen pizzas in my early 20s. Yeah, I bet you got some bowel glue going on there. So you want to clean up the bowels pretty good. You should see some mucoid plaque coming out of there, man. And then in 2012, I asked life to show me a way to get better, even though I was a pretty healthy, fit guy. I was always in very good shape, even though I did very little exercise. I must have gotten genes, I guess. Yeah. That's why these black guys, you ever see these black guys? They're born with a bodybuilder's body. I've always wanted that. These guys are born with a bodybuilding body. It's like, damn. Some of these guys look really, really good, and they did nothing to get it. It's like, daggone it. I was always in very good shape, even though I did very little. Okay. In early 2012, I started consuming fruit smoothies in the morning. I also started juicing greens. After 1 month of quitting all processed foods, and after maybe 10 days of juicing greens, I began feeling very tired and dizzy. You need to move away from the greens for a while and get up into the fruits, my friend, and really get your lymph moving more. Because right now you kind of brought yourself into kind of a holding pattern here. You start to move lymph a little bit, you're in a holding pattern, and you can hold symptoms for months. So you got to push it over the top. Push it over the top and get in there and dig deeper, and you'll pass that top and you'll be good then. So I asked life for help again. Very spiritual guy here. And I found a video of Matt Monarch sharing his colonic anemia experiences. So I went to the drugstore, bought an enema bag, and what came out of me was not good. Well, I didn't think so. After pizzas for all those years, I'm saying you're probably pretty And that's just the colon you're doing. How about the 22-foot of small bowel? Don't forget that one. And you can't do that with an enema. How am I going to get to that? Stomach and bowel, capsules, heel oil capsules, GI broom, baby. So I went to the, there we go, the water in the toilet was black and, that's what I'm talking about, mucoid plaque. Yuck. Yep. And smelled awful. So I continued my diet of fruit smoothies in the morning, green drinks, and sometimes meat and other whole foods. I kept using enemas when I felt weak and when I had gas that smelled like the black water. Ugh. After every enema, I felt like a different man, like my vibration went much higher. Isn't that fun? And you can get it higher and higher and higher and higher. We were just talking about that this morning with Chad, and there's no limit. I mean, it's just, I must have been on this diet for 4.5 years till I went 95% raw. Nut butter sometimes for the 5%. Yeah, when I opened up my health food stores, I went after the nut butters myself. Oh, God. I thought they were good. During that 1.5 years, I must have done 25 to 30 enemas where I expelled truly awful-smelling substances. Did I overdo the enemas? A little bit. But you know what? Get on the herbs to do that. It'll super clean. You'll be done. You won't have to keep doing them. Get your adrenals invigorated. Get your kidneys filtering. And you'll invigorate yourself, man. Yeah, look at your eyes. Get a picture of your eyes. Take a look. See what you're up against. Is this why I'm so tired? Possibly. Because remember, it's a form of stimulation, like colonics. And stimulation, innervation is the flip side. Stimulation, innervation. Innervation is like that. I honestly don't know how I could have survived without the enemas. No, you probably did everything the way you were supposed to. Now it's time to invigorate. Get up higher up on the food chain, more invigorating, more detoxifying. Spend a little time with some herbs on the kidneys and adrenals and stuff like that. If you work at a place, see what you can pick up. My panic attack, let me see here. One thing worth mentioning, I think, is when the water gets to a certain point in my colon, my panic attacks come back. Well, everywhere on your GI tract, I look at the colon as an electrical board. Like you see in these musicians where you have all your mixers and everything. And it's an electric board where all your organs and glands came off of these tissues in the embryonic stages when it was the embryonic tail. And so you have an electrical symbiotic relationship between the foods that come in, your nervous system, and all your organs and glands. That's why the huge difference between putting electrical foods in your GI tract, and putting water in your GI tract. And by putting dead foods in your GI tract. Because you have an electrical transference, a magnetic transference, that's obvious. That's just physics. And so it's a big deal, more so than we probably really know. So raw foods is really key for colon health for a lot of reasons and for other tissues as well in that symbiotic electrical relationship. So getting live foods is key at turning on peristalsis, that energy transfers to organs and glands, not just the chemical side of this. So really a big deal there. But there's a spot where your adrenals came off on your colon. And also the stomach. You know, your stomach is also tied to the adrenal glands. And so there's all these points. And you could be, hitting these points of weakness and then having a reflex. So you just turn and get yourself healthy. Just go for detox, get your kidneys filtering, go on with that. You can use brain and nerve number 2 if you want to help with that. I don't know if it's the darkness within my colon that triggers the panics or it's my instincts telling me it's enough water. Well, that's a good question. Could be that too. You know, you could be feeling a little bloated, a little pressure, that trips the adrenals, any of these things. Remember, too, that this is absorbed, too much of this water is absorbed back into the kidneys, remember? The last part of the descending colon and the sigmoid area, that's where you're absorbing. And even in the rectal area, you notice how you have to pee after you stool? You know, you can absorb water back in there. And if you're really dehydrated, you can absorb so much water back into the body from the colon that you get constipated from that. Mm-hmm. I will send you that's just what I was saying. You guys are ahead of me here, and we'll try to come see you in person in January or February. Thanks. Love to you, my friend. Good job. But I think you ought to go on a bowel formula and some kidney formulas and adrenals. So you really get in there and do even if you can rustle up just for the 14-week protocol. And then head off, get your raw in there, get your fruits up in there, and then head off then with a high fruit fast or high fruit detox after the 14th week. You can even, or do it during the 14th week. But keep going. See what your eyes look like. See what your bowels look like. That's what's nice about iridology. I'm telling you, it's a simple science. Don't try to make more out of it than it is. Incredible simple science, in my opinion. Incredible. It probably has far-reaching effects once we learn deeper aspects of it. But at this point, a lot of people are trying to attach things to iridology, saying that it does things that it really doesn't do. So one has to be careful about that sort of things, making things do what it's not really intended to do. But what a good look. What a good look into the cells and the lymphatic system, the key system of the body. What a great look. And so it's a great tool to use. Well, my time is getting burned up, guys. I became a member and I need to know what to get to help my adrenals out. I have a thyroid issue, Dennis. Well, if it was me, you know what? It depends how chronic of adrenals you have. If they're chronic, I recommend glandulars. If they're not, I recommend a adrenal herbal tincture. Right? So certain herbs are specific for the adrenals, like Siberian ginseng, parsley, of course, your dandelions, of course, your greens over the roots, borage, but borage is considered toxic, and I don't know, I've stayed away from it because you hear all this, and then, the sad thing is, and I've mentioned this before, that when the world realizes how vital herbs are for our wellness, we're in trouble. And the thing is, we're already seeing some of the better herbs disappearing. We saw false unicorn, one of the best female reproductive herbs, now is on the endangered species. So I have to now go back, change my female reproductive formula, pay for all new labels, so a lot of money lost, because now we have an herb that's going extinct, or at least on the endangered species. The nice thing about herbalists is that we're very conservationists. We really want to keep herbs here. So we pull things, list some herbs on the endangered species so we can get caught up on them. But it won't be long. Ginseng is going to be just, look at these guys in the mountains now. I saw a new show now, and they're fighting each other on the ginseng wars in Tennessee and Carolina and Kentucky. We have ginseng pickers in Indiana. So, it's just raping the land of the valuable. But we need botanicals. And so I'm hoping that this will make room for more farmers, more herbal growers. And we do it right in greenhouses and pyramid greenhouses. And with the right soils, we can grow superior herbs. No problem with that. So the weaker the adrenals, I recommend adrenal glandular, at least for a month or two. Pop that up, use the adrenals from that. But you always want to work on the kidneys, because the kidneys sit right below them, and it's a catch-22. If the dopamines are low, it shuts down the kidney filtration. When that's shut down, it backs up the lymph in the adrenals. Backing up the lymph in the adrenals, then the adrenals can grow tumors or get cysts on them, just like ovaries do. And then, of course, that suppresses the adrenal function even more, which then in turn suppresses the kidney function even more. And then see what I'm saying? It's just a nightmare of all this going on. So that's why, with the right focus and detox, going after the right tissue, you'll come out on top, and you'll have a good body again, and it's all, you You've resurrected your body. You've changed your genetic patterns and your thinking of the cells. You've cleaned out all the acids and sewage, which is your immune/sewer system, and life is good, baby. So that's what I would do. You can always use a glandular for thyroids are easy to pop up, so you use a simple glandular. I always use the thyroid 150s first, but look around and make sure it's not a pituitary problem, my friend. Real important, Dennis, because you could have a little bit of a pituitary problem. Now, the subject. Thank you for your videos. I have learned so much. Oh, thanks so much. Oh, this is May, M-A-E. Here's my question. I got herpes type 2 from my boyfriend who knew he had it, and he didn't tell me. Little rotten scoundrel. So I have been living with it for the last 5 years. Me and my boyfriend are no longer together, which is a sad thing, and it is tearing me apart. Well, sweetheart, detox your body out. Stay alkaline, because you can engage if they're dormant and you're alkaline, and you're not going to pass them. But I'll say this: detox your body first. Really detoxify your body really good, and that'll detox these virals right out, and you'll be in good shape. That's a sad thing, to do this, but I tell you, there's a ton. You're not the only one. I'm going to say 70% or more of the people have herpes, and realize that this is another blessing from the pharmaceutical companies. No, most of our problems are blessings from the allopathic community at one level or another. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But it's enough to say that you can detox these out of your body, sweetheart. You're going to want to do that, and get your kidneys filtering and all this, and clean up. I do some douching to clean all this out. Remember, these are proteolytics. They love acids, so the more acidic you are, the more they'll come out if you still have them. But detox these virals out of your body, sweetheart. I am in love with someone that doesn't have it, and I am scared out of my mind to tell him. We are not sleeping together, but I am terrified to tell him. I feel sorry for this lady here. This is a case that's all over the place, and that's why I say you can be happy because you can detoxify these virals out of your body. I have so many people that have detoxed herpes out of their body that no longer have it. So you can do this at detoxification. And listen, you want your man to love you for you. Your past is your past. Everybody's past is past. We love the person for what we see in the moment. And if he really digs on you, something like herpes is not going to change his mind. This is a viral. The pharmaceutical companies filled a lot of people that was inoculated with smallpox. Back in my time, they loaded us all up with the herpes. Thank you. So I'm saying, you just have to get ahead of all this game that we're having here, bad game, and get yourself detoxified and cleaned up, and then you have a good relationship. I would tell him, but to keep him in dormancy at the very least, you need to stay alkaline. And then you can intercourse and things, but I would still detoxify my fluids, my lymph system, and get everything, douche, clean myself. I saw on your latest video that you can't, no, I thought I put it up on that last video. Can you go into it a little bit more? Maybe the protocol that you would recommend. Well, I recommend the 14-week protocol, but also a high fruit, berry, and melon diet. Detox is detox. For me, it's the same. It doesn't matter what you got. I would go after you like I'd go after a tumor in the breast. It doesn't matter. I'm going deep into your body, and I'm going to start cleaning out some of the deepest parts of that. And that's what we do. We get the bodies going, we get the kidneys filtering, get the adrenals up, we get all the glands up, we start cleaning up all the organs, all the interstitial fluids, blah, 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 blah. Same with everybody, same way. That was a salad, too, for lunch. Maybe let me see. I'm willing to try anything. Well, don't try. Be successful, because there's only one way to get rid of virals. There's nothing you can take to get rid of virals. You can only detoxify them out of your body. It's the only way. This is a huge problem. I can see the problem, and a lot of women have it, and I feel sorry for you ladies. But truth is always the number one, and you want a man that can take truth anyway, and a man that understands. If he loves you for you, he'll work with you through this. This is thank you for showing that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There sure is, May, and I'll tell you, you'll get there. And just get in there and detoxify. Use Parasite M, too, for a while. That'll help quite a bit there. Here's regarding the Parasite G and M. Do either of them treat Giardia, blastocystis, H pylori? Absolutely. But keep in mind, and especially with the H pylori, remember the mucosa, remember the lymph system, remember acidosis. Detox, detox, detox. Gets rid of all this, including Giardia, all these. Detox, detox, detox. Remember the terrain, the culturing medium, guys, and you'll be in good shape. All right, I'm going to have to cut this off, unfortunately. And look, this is just over the weekend. I was going to come in this weekend, but I got to working outside. I need to have some outdoor work or I don't feel good. I can't sit at a desk for too long. Drives me nuts. I love you guys. Remember, moveyourlymph.com. moveyourlymph.com. You know, the more truth you guys and all of us put out there, the more they're not going to like us, because this world has a hard time with a spoonful of truth, don't they? But we're here to give it, and that they're just going to have to take it, because that's the nature of the world right now, the nature of God. It is time to awaken a little bit. So many of you guys have done so good on yourselves, and you're helping so many people. I just got off the phone with some guy. He's helping this guy. This guy almost had a heart attack or something. He pulled him out of that, saved him, saved another guy, saved another guy. You guys are incredible. You feel real good about yourselves, because there's nothing better than helping your fellow man. It doesn't matter, because you have what you need. You're all that you need. You don't need anybody else. You have yourself. And what better than to help people? Making friends and helping people, getting hugs, and a few kisses. Love you guys. And keep watching your dreams, because we're out there. Love you guys.